The USS Gerald R Ford, or CVN-78, the most expensive and frequently delayed next-generation aircraft carrier, is finally ready for deployment after 14 years of development and delays. The aircraft carrier cost a total of $13.3 billion and was approved by the US Navy in late 2021. That sounds great for the military team, and today in this video, we are showing you its specification, how it is useful, and everything else you need to know. Watch till the end and subscribe for more. Here we begin. The USS Gerald R Ford is the flagship of the US Navy's aircraft carrier class. The ship is named after Gerald Ford, the 38th President of the United States. His naval service during World War II included combat duty aboard Monterey's light aircraft carrier in the Pacific Theater. Northrop Grumman held a ceremonial steel cut for a 15-ton plate that forms part of the carrier's side shell unit on August 11, 2005. Gerald R Ford's keel was laid down on November 3, 2009. On November 9, 2013, she was christened. Gerald R Ford joined the fleet to replace the decommissioned USS Enterprise, or CVN-65, which served for 51 years before decommissioning in December 2012. Gerald R Ford, which was originally scheduled for delivery in 2015, was delivered to the Navy on May 31, 2017, and formally commissioned by President Donald Trump on July 22, 2017. The Navy announced that the carrier will make her first deployment in 2022. It's the world's largest aircraft carrier and the largest warship ever built in terms of displacement as of 2017. Let's now move on to the latest news about it being in action. The aircraft carrier was initially scheduled to be deployed in 2017, 8 years after construction began in 2009, which is longer than the typical aircraft carrier construction time frame of 5 years. However, difficulties in the development process and a series of delays due to reliability issues with multiple new technologies resulted in a 5-year delay on top of the already lengthy building timeframe. The Navy's top priority is the readiness of USS Gerald R Ford, and the team's progress during the post-shakedown availability met requirements, while the subsequent 8 months of CVN-78's post-delivery test and trials, or PDT&T period, has been impressively ahead of schedule. Experts estimated that PDT&T would take 10 months, with full ship shock trials following in 2021, and added, "We must ensure that the team takes the opportunity to recharge and allow for fresh eyes on upcoming challenges as required." While there is no perfect time for leadership transitions, it's prudent to bring in new blood now to guide the CVN-78 team through the coming challenges. Captain Metcalf's proven program management acumen and extensive waterfront experience will be a tremendous asset to the CVN-78 team in the months ahead. Gerald R Ford, the first of the Ford-class aircraft carriers that will eventually replace existing Nimitz-class carriers, will incorporate a slew of new technologies as the future aircraft carrier. The aircraft carrier was outfitted with a novel dual-band radar system, new electromagnetically powered aircraft launch catapults and weapons elevators, new aircraft arresting gear, and a variety of other features. All of these novel features were designed to create a highly efficient warship, capable of more aircraft sorties. The ship had seen various performance improvements before it got ready to be in action. Gerald R Ford was intended to be the first in a new class of aircraft carriers that would outperform the previous Nimitz class. As a result, the Gerald R Ford is outfitted with AN/SPY-3 and AN/SPY-4 active electronically scanned array multifunction, multi-band radar, as well as an island that is 140 feet farther aft and 3 feet closer to the ship's edge than the Nimitz class. The Electromagnetic Aircraft Launch System, or EMALS, will launch all carrier aircraft in place of traditional steam catapults. This innovation eliminates the need to generate and store steam, freeing up valuable space below the deck. Gerald R Ford could launch 25% more aircraft per day with the EMALS than the Nimitz class, and with 25% fewer crew members. Over a 50-year lifespan, the Navy expects to save $4 billion in operating costs. She is truly a technological marvel. Chief of Naval Operations Admiral Jonathan Greenard said in a webcast ceremony at the Newport News, Virginia shipyard, where Gerald R Ford is being built. She will carry unmanned aircraft, joint strike fighters, and she will deploy lasers. These performance improvements were problematic in Pentagon tests, but final software fixes for some of the issues were postponed until the ship's post-shakedown availability in 2019. Now, why not acknowledge a bit about its construction? The U.S. Navy signed a $5.1 billion contract with Northrop Grumman Shipbuilding in Newport News, Virginia on September 10, 2008 to design and build the carrier. Under a $2.7 billion contract, Northrop began preliminary construction of the carrier in 2005. The carrier was built in Newport News, Virginia, at the Huntington Ingalls Newport News shipbuilding facilities, which employ 19,000 people. Captain John F. Meyer, the ship's sponsor, and the first commanding officer collaborated on the design of the ship's crest. The carrier was reported to be structurally halfway complete in August 2011. Construction was said to be 75% complete in April 2012. The critical lower bow was lifted into place on May 24, 2012, marking an important milestone in the vessel's completion up to the waterline. This was the 390th of nearly 500 lifts of the integrated modular components used to assemble the vessel. In a press release issued on November 8, Huntington Ingalls stated that construction had reached 87% structural completion. Construction had reached 90% structural completion on December 19, 2012. However, only 446 of the nearly 500 total structural lifts required to complete the ship have been completed. Finally, the island was landed and a ceremony was held on January 26, 2013. A time capsule was welded into a small room just above the floor on July 11, 2013, carrying on a long Navy tradition. President Ford's daughter, Susan Ford Bales, chose the time capsule items, including sandstone from the White House, Navy coins, and aviator wings from the ship's first commanding officer. The ship was supposed to be launched in July 2013 and delivered in 2015. However, due to production delays, the launch was postponed until October 11, 2013, and the naming ceremony was postponed until November 9, 2013, with delivery scheduled for February 2016. Gerald R. Ford had four 30-ton, 21-foot diameter bronze propellers installed on October 3, 2013. The underwater shafting required more than 10 months of work before installing the propellers. In addition, the ship's dry dock was flooded for the first time on October 11, 2013, to test various seawater-based systems. Her launch date was set to coincide with her naming ceremony on November 9, 2013. Construction costs were estimated to be $12.8 billion in 2013, a 22% increase over the 2008 budget, plus $4.7 billion in research and development costs. Due to budget constraints, Admiral Jonathan Greenert, Chief of Naval Operations, warned that the Gerald R. Ford project could be delayed by 2 years beyond 2016. The Navy announced on September 23, 2015 that several weeks of testing delays would likely push the delivery date into April or May 2016. Furthermore, as of September 2015, construction was 93% complete. The ship was not expected to arrive until November 2016, and these issues were suggested as reasons for the delay. However, the ship's construction was described as 98% complete, with 88% of testing completed. Due to problems with a nuclear propulsion system and munitions elevators, construction costs had risen to $13.27 billion by March 2018, making the Gerald R. Ford the most expensive warship ever built. As a result, delivery to the Navy has been pushed back 3 months to October 2019. The construction later involved its operational and major system testing. The Annual Director, Operational Test and Evaluation or DOT&E report from January 2014 stated that critical ship systems in lab and test environments including the EMALS, Advanced Arresting Gear or AAG, dual-band radar and weapons elevators were not reliable enough and required additional testing and improvements. So the Navy implemented a rigorous testing program to resolve any performance issues before installing the systems on the aircraft carrier. The fix, which necessitated design changes, was implemented and validated during acceptance trials in May 2017. In April 2017, the initial operational test and evaluation milestone was reached. Gerald R. Ford set sail for the first time under her own power on April 8, 2017, on her way to the sea for builder's trials. The USGS recorded a 3.9 magnitude earthquake after 40,000 pounds of TNT was detonated underwater. Additional tests were carried out in July and August, with test detonations closer to the hull. The ship was determined to have passed the test, bringing the trials to a close. Let us know your views in the comments below and subscribe for more.